Today we are officially slumming it because I don't want to put any effort into things because I have crippling depression. So there's that. Today we are going to be doing a February review in books because this is a booktube channel. So, okay, what are we going to talk about today? The books that I read over the month of February. Last month I read a whopping 3 books, and I was very, very proud of that because 3 books was an accomplishment for me. This month, let's see how many books did I do? 7 books. Because I finally realized that I could listen to audiobooks during a certain block of my workday and knock out some books that way. And you know what? I enjoy that. So, yeah, that helped get the numbers up. Will I be continuing this to get numbers up? Maybe, depending on if I feel like it. My last week I didn't listen to any audiobooks, just music during that period of time. Because I didn't want to think about things because crippling depression. And yeah, so let's get right into it. The first book would be The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. I read The Fellowship of the Ring last month and I wanted to continue it with Two Towers this month. I think next month I will be doing The Return of the King and maybe the subsequent books following in the next few months. We'll see where we're at. Crippling depression might be like, maybe take a break, but we'll see. Anyways, 5 stars from me. I enjoyed it. Rob Engel's narration, amazing, just like I said with the last book. It's part of the reason why it was so enjoyable. So if you might not have picked up The Lord of the Rings as a book or the series because it seems very daunting, I would recommend listening to the audiobooks on a long road trip or even during your work commute because it's delightful and I think you would enjoy it. More detailed reviews will be available on my Goodreads profile as well as I have my own Bookstagram account now. It is Stuff with Sophie J. And check that out. I will be posting all of my book reviews there. Going into the next book. This one I didn't rate, and here's my reasoning for this. It is a social justice book, and because I read this to kind of continue my education, I knew I wasn't going to be going into this trying to enjoy it because these are harsh truths. So I didn't want to rate it for that reason. But this is the reason I like this book. So this book is The Color of Law, which is a forgotten history of how our government segregated America. This one was done by Richard Rothstein, and I listened to the audiobook version just because audiobooks with these kinds of topics, it's easier for me to go through than physical copies because sometimes it might seem like people are droning on and I'm trying to actually absorb the information and not ignore it. So I think the audiobook was a better way to go. I mean, that's how I listen. I prefer to listen to my news is listening to the radio. So that was my thinking there. And you know what? I did learn some stuff. Just like my community was completely based around segregation and I'd never thought about that until recently. I literally live less than a mile away from an oil field, so yeah. Sophie, segregation is a part of why your community is laid out the way it is, since it is predominantly Mexican American. And also Los Angeles has probably a lot of oil fields next to not so great communities like my own, so it makes sense. It adds up. Anyways, this was written as a response to Chief Justice Roberts' statement that segregation was not the result of a state action, but of private choices. And our boy Richard Rothstein was like, no, here are the receipts. There you go. So I did like that it was kind of written as a petty response to that. And not even petty. he's speaking the truth. There is a heavy like focus on segregation in California, which props to them. By the way, I live in California, and there seems to be this weird thing where a lot of people here think that we are unaffected by racism and segregation, and that is an old American, Southern, Deep South thing, when it's like, no, it's just hidden in your community because you've been completely, like, our entire arrangement here was a result of segregation. So, like, think on that, fam. So, unrated, but a very good and important read. So check that out. And book 3, which was Ali Wong's Dear Girls, which was really such a sweet but like funny read. Or listen, I listened to the audiobook. This was definitely like a love letter to her daughters, which it kind of at times felt like I was listening in on something that was meant to be a bit more personal, but Ali Wong is pretty raw in that way. And she wanted to present herself as truly herself as possible, not some skewed account. So if anything ever happened to her down the line, her daughters had a clear picture of who their mother was. So that was sweet. And she is very much an oversharer. So there were some bits where I was like, oh, but like it's very much reminiscent of her comedy. It's raunchy, it's in your face, but very Ali Wong. So if you like her, you will like this book, because obviously. And to play along with my celebrity drinking game with my friend, yes, I would fucking get drunk with Ali Wong. It seems like a good time. Next up, oh wait, what did I had 4 stars for Dear Girls, by the way. Okay, 4th book was Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, and I'm not a Daily Show fan. Like I don't watch it regularly. If anything, it will be a clip here and there that I'll catch on YouTube because it was recommended. Yeah, but I gave this a 5 stars. Yeah, dude has had a really harsh life, but like the optimism from this, but also like keeping in the funny, I applaud him. The way he's able to capture the personalities of the people that he grew up around, they definitely stuck out, and I feel like I kind of knew these people from my own life with similar personalities. So a lot of his book is about like his relationship with his mother and the struggle there, but like by the end, which, oh my god, the end, both uplifting and tragic at the same time. You're just like, this story was his love letter to his mom, and just like it hurt in like the best way, because there is kind of a happy ending there, but it's still like, because of what happened, it's tragic. And yeah, 5 stars from me. Absolutely loved it. It's not a downer of a book, but there are moments where you're just like, fuck dude, you went through it. Number 6, and this I go more into depth in my last video with my food adventure with my best friend, because the whole reason we went on that food adventure is because I read this book, and it bothered me, but at the same time made me want fish and chips, because that's all that bitch ate. Dark Fever by Karen Marie Moaning. Very problematic. Had I maybe read it 10 years ago, where maybe I wasn't as woke as I am now, I probably wouldn't have had as much of a problem. That, and if I had never been to Dublin, I wouldn't have as much of a problem, or knew anything about Irish history, given that I did an entire course on it. I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem, but here we are, and I gave it 2 stars because it was just, I could not get past a few things on the plot, as well as you can tell that the author had never been to Dublin, unless she went for like a weekend in Temple Bar at that point. Though I did say I would read the sequel, and I have started the sequel, and I can tell that maybe after she wrote that book, she did finally go to Ireland and do some research. So there were maps in the beginning of that book, so I see it. She explains the layout, so that's a bit better, but there are some problems there. You could check my review for details. Alright, and number 6. So you want to talk about Race by Ijoma Oluo. And this one is another one because it was a social justice read where I decided not to rate it, but it actually was a really good read / listen. This one was another audiobook. And to me, it was kind of like having a conversation with a friend and sharing your experiences, because she goes over some of the experiences she's had in her life or dealing with microaggressions and sometimes like straight out racism, and like how she handled the situation, or she wishes she handled the situation, and why it's important to address those situations. And granted, she is a mixed race woman who grew up in Texas, probably had a harsher upbringing and had to face so much more prejudice and racism than I have in my life. It definitely felt seen, because there were some instances where she mentioned just like mini microaggressions that over the course of my life I've for sure faced. The whole thing with people mispronouncing names, that bugs me. This is part of the reason why my channel name is Stuff with Sophie J. Everyone calls me Sophie J because they can't pronounce my name. And I'm gonna fucking tell you, it's fucking hard. People not trying when your name's not even that hard to pronounce. It's upsetting. In 8th grade, at my 8th grade promotion, I had a teacher who pronounced my name, even though I had coached her in how to say my name, I don't know how many times. At the promotion, in front of everyone's parents, in front of everyone, she pronounced my name Joramio. It's Jaramillo. It's not difficult. But just shit like that, where it's just like, you know what? I should have fucking said something. And like, yeah, it's just upsetting. Anyways, it got me very heated, but also like, I felt seen. And also, it makes me, if I ever see anything like those situations arise, and I'm not necessarily the target, I need to be able to speak up. And now she kind of coaches you on like what you can do to approach the situation and not make it worse, and actually be not only an ally but also prepared if you are ever the target of those situations. So yes, I loved it. I know she has more books, so I will be seeking those out. And lastly, for the month, I just finished it like 2 days ago, and this is why I was just watching the Golden Globes, because I wanted to see if the TV show won anything, because I watched it when it was released. I just finally read the book. I read Normal People by Sally Rooney because I had just read Dark Fever, and that was upsetting because it was somebody talking about Ireland that seemingly had never been there. So I wanted to see a story that takes place in Ireland from the perspective of an Irish author. Granted, the setting wasn't like obviously Irish. This could have actually just taken place in any other country, place. Could have been here in the United States. The kids in this, they go to Trinity College in Dublin for university. But I gave this one 4 stars, because let me tell you, I do know something about crippling depression and anxiety, and Sally Rooney, she knows how to write about it, and these characters have it. I only mentioned that Connell does, but Marianne probably does too. And yeah, just a great emotional read. I was expecting it to be a bit more romantic, but they kind of have like a troubled romance, but it was more like, oh god, I am feeling all the anxiety of being in this relationship, even though I'm just seeing it out as an outsider. And yeah, when books can bring that out in me, you know it's well written. So I do recommend this. I do just have to say, Lorraine, Connell's mom in this, amazing. Best character or best side character of the book. So I'm just gonna say that. And yeah, those were my reads for February. And this is my candle of February. Will this become a thing? I don't know. Okay, question for the video, if you were paying attention, if you made it to the end. If you have ever seen Mamma Mia, which one of the dynamos are you? Personally, like, I would love if I was a Tanya, if I was as ballsy as a Tanya. Like, that is my dream, because I've always just wanted to be a bad bitch, which is very much Tanya. Not to say that this character isn't. She is in her own way, but she's also a mess. But we love her for it. I am a Rosie, through and through. I will fight for you and then drink and fall off a table. But also, I know what I want and I try to get it. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work out. But here we are. Which one of the dynamos are you? Please tell me down below. Also, if you like book content and shit like this, please give it a like. Or subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, cool. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. So I might do that.